Hello, this is Kevin Mann, and this is our module on structure, logical narrative, the bridge to understanding. You can think of your presentation like a bridge. You and your audience start at one end of the bridge, and in your presentation, you are going to be taking them across the bridge. Well, at least you are going to be going across the bridge and getting to the destination at the end of your slides. But the question is whether the audience is going to go with you. And the structure of your presentation is going to be a big factor in whether they can come along with you. It's unwise to merely dump a pile of unstructured information into the laps of your audience. They will have the same reaction as if you take a watch apart, fling the pieces at them, and say, "Here's all you need to make a watch." You might get high marks for research and energy, but that is a low-class consolation prize. By doing this, you confess that you don't know what to do with all the stuff you've dug up. Audiences expect structure. It's a quote from Henry Boettinger, who was an AT&T executive who also taught presentation skills. Let's look at the requirements of the structure. At the start of the bridge, there's a little stone imp sitting. And the stone imp has two thoughts. I don't believe you, and I don't care what you think. Now, you're only going to get past that I don't believe you by making your presentation simple enough to understand and logical enough for that person, for that little stone imp, to believe your facts. And the I don't care you're going to get past by having some kind of emotional engagement, some kind of story usually, and a vision at the end of it of some benefit. So we'll talk about those things as we go through the structure section here. Science is simply common sense at its best. That is, rigidly accurate in observation and merciless to fallacy in logic. All right, logic is not everything, but if you have a new idea, you need logic to support it. This quote is from Thomas Huxley, who was called Darwin's bulldog for basically saying over and over, hey, this is true. The facts and logic support it. And finally, I think almost everyone believes Darwin's theory of evolution. So this kind of fact and logic approach does chip away at people's disbelief over time. You need a simple agenda that's easy to understand. So just really quickly, at the beginning, something summary, overview, introduction, background. We'll just call that an introduction. In the middle, you're going to have the main part of your facts and logic, logical narrative, conflict resolution, whatever that's going to be, 3 to 5 sections, 1 to 5 word description of each. And at the end, conclusion, action, recommendation, whatever, we'll call that an action plan. You really want your agenda to be pretty simple and easy to understand. So you could see this agenda would have a total of 5 to 7 sections. Max, right? Anything more than that really gets hard for people to comprehend. I've seen people use 11 or 12 bullet points as their presentation agenda. And honestly, you've lost people already. They don't know what your presentation is going to be about. It's too complicated. Let's look at an example. So your agenda should be designed to engage. If you're doing a landscaping design review with a CEO of, we'll say, a technology company for specificity, it might look like this. Here are the components of the landscape design: a site plan, trees, shrubs, grasses, walkways, irrigation, let's say the valve types, and the budget. These are things you have to select as a landscaping designer. So this is very much the world you live in if you're a landscaping designer, the components that are going to go in. But maybe unless the CEO is an expert in trees and shrubs, they might not be too engaged. You might have a hard time getting them to cross that bridge with you. You could talk about the process, project plan, permits, site grading, irrigation, planting, maintenance, budget. These are the steps that you would take in a project. Again, unless they're a project construction-oriented person, they're not going to be able to engage with you, and they're not going to cross that bridge with you. So you try to think about what they could interact with you about. So the objectives of the landscaping design. What are the business objectives? What are the design elements that we can move around together? If the CEO has a different idea, these are the things we can move around, things they could interact with, at least intellectually. And then we have 3 garden types that we've defined: a native species area, a formal garden area, and an outside office, an outdoor space where you could have conversations. And then next steps, the budget's just buried in the next steps. For a CEO can actually engage around these topics. And if they're talking with you and engaging around these topics, they're crossing the bridge. So this design, agenda design, nice and simple. You'd also notice a little shorter, and the most engaging. That's the target you want to aim for, something that's going to engage people. Horizontal and vertical logic are how you build logic and facts into your presentation. So horizontal logic means linking ideas to each other. So if we have problem A, and we can say A is caused by B, and B can be corrected by C, that's horizontal logic. Vertical logic is putting facts under that. So we have problem A, fact, explaining problem A. A is caused by B, fact, explaining the relation between A and B. And B can be corrected by C, fact, showing how B affects C. And you want to make sure you don't put a lot of extraneous facts on the page, because that just makes things more confusing. To make your logical narrative memorable, you have to keep it simple. So you have a conclusion and your actions that you're going to recommend, and 3 main points under it would be really easy to remember, easy to convey structure. But that's not going to be able to carry all your facts. So you have subpoints and facts under your main points. So this kind of structure allows you to take all your facts and organize them, have them come up to your main points to support your conclusion and action plan. This looks complicated, but this would be a good structure for about a 40-page presentation. Now, I had to learn this the hard way, if you will, on the job as a management consultant, getting mentored by more senior management consultants who were pretty demanding about this logical structure. However, I have worked with people who were very good at this, who said they learned that logical writing process from this book, The Mento Pyramid Principle by Barbara Mento. So I haven't read it myself. As I said, I learned this the hard way, but this book is supposed to be quite good. Let's look at a logical narrative. Alan Eagle worked with Eric Schmidt and Jonathan Rosenberg's book, How Google Works, to create a PowerPoint slide deck, which you can see on SlideShare, which is a very nice narrative. And then the Draw Shop took that material and turned it into a YouTube video using their unique presentation style, which is really a lot of fun. So the next video on the playlist is this Draw Shop How Google Works version, and you'll see how it works as a narrative.